Hi everybody, it's Nicole and it's been a long time, but I wanted to come on here and do a video about sleep. I'm going to preface this by saying we did do a form of cry it out. So if you're against it or if you feel like just leaving very hateful comments, then this is not the video for you to watch. Um, if you're looking to possibly find out why people do cry it out, or what it is and get more information on how to do it, then I would continue watching. Otherwise, this is probably not a good video for you to watch. So I'm going to start off by telling you guys that basically, before we decided to do sleep training, Bam would go to sleep in his room. We would rock him down. I would either nurse him or we would give him a bottle of breast milk, and then he would go to sleep and wake up anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours later. And it was like nearly impossible to get him back down, and then it was the same cycle over again, and it was just awful. So we were all losing sleep. Bam was losing sleep. I was losing sleep. So he would always end up just coming back into our bed. So since he's been alive, he has slept in our bed. There hasn't been one night that he didn't sleep in our bed until just over a week ago.
There was one night. There was one.
What?
There was one night.
No, he came to our bed. It was like early in the morning, but he came to our bed.
It was a night.
Whatever. Anyway, we did have one like almost successful night, but it was like I was sleepless in Seattle. Trust me, it was bad. So anyway, we I started doing tons of research because when Bam turned 6 months old, he's now 9 months old. When he turned 6 months old, he started showing signs of wanting to go to sleep on his own. Rocking him, he would try to get up and like try to look around, and it wasn't that he wasn't tired, it was that he didn't want me holding him and rocking him and going through all this. So it became harder and harder and harder. The older he was getting, the harder it became to get him to sleep. So I think around like 6.5 months, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try it, And Brandon works a lot outside of the house, and obviously, so he wasn't here. And I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, and decided I was gonna go ahead and try to sleep train him based on what I had read. Now, a lot of what I saw as far as videos are concerned didn't tell how to do it. They just kind of said they did it and it worked. So I did a lot of reading and found out that how to do it, and I'll tell you exactly how we did it. But so I tried. I put Bam in his bed, and when he woke up crying, I waited a few minutes, went back in, and he became hysterical to the point of throwing up. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. Brought him back to bed with me, and it was it. So I tried that maybe 2 or 3 times to no avail. I did not succeed. At his 9-month pediatrician appointment, I talked to his pediatrician and I said, listen, I don't know what to do. I cannot get him out of our bed. I can't get him to sleep through the night and whatever. And she said, if you're comfortable having him in your bed, then there's nothing wrong with that. And while I agree with that, the problem is Bam was nursing all night, wouldn't sleep without suckling on me and pacifying using me, so I was in pain. He wasn't sleeping good. I wasn't sleeping good. Brandon was, poor thing, literally probably sleeping half off the bed when he was here, and so it was just not working. And I like to spend time with my kids during the day, so I would like to have a time at night where I can get my quote chores done or clean up and stuff, and really alleviate some of my work that I have to do during the day so I can spend more time with the kids. And beyond that, I am enrolled in school for January. I'm going back to school. So with all of those things, I came to Brandon and I said, listen, I need your help. We need to do this. His pediatrician told us that, if you're comfortable, then, go ahead and let him sleep in his crib. But I said, I don't believe in cry it out. I don't think that that's a healthy method. I've read on it. I've tried to do it, but I don't feel like it, I don't think it's going to work for us. And I've tried everything else. I've tried everything. And with Violet, we didn't have to do any kind of sleep training because she just eventually started sleeping through the night and self-soothing all on her own. We never had to worry about that. So we're like dumbfounded as to what's going on with my son. So we talked to her. She said, listen, when he cries, he knows you're going to come and pick him up and probably nurse him. So he cries, and you go pick him up and nurse him. And in order to teach him that he's not going to get picked up and nursed when he cries, you can't pick him up and nurse him when he cries. It sounds really stupid and easy, but it's really hard to do. So right after that appointment, I believe it was like that day or maybe a couple days later, Brandon and I are like, okay, we're going to do it. So day one probably was, I don't think we did it the best way the first day, and here's why. So I rocked him to sleep. Our bedtime routine is as follows. If I put him on the breast, he'll fall asleep. So he never got enough milk. So what I would do is I started a little while back pumping to make sure he does drink enough before bed. So he'll drink his bottle, and I rocked him down, and then I nursed him after drinking his bottle, and he went to sleep. I put him in his bed asleep. When he woke up, we went back in and soothed him. I picked him up, soothed him a little bit, laid him down. He was screaming, hysterical, didn't know what was going on. We went in every 3 minutes, or we went in after, was it 2 minutes the first night, honey?
No, yes.
So I think we went in after like 2 minutes, and then we went in after 3 minutes, and then after every 5 minutes. He initially went down to bed at, I think, between 8:30 and 8:45, and he fell asleep for the night at 11 p.m. He woke back up 7 hours later. It was miraculous. It was amazing. But we didn't do it right because we should have laid him down awake to begin with instead of, me nursing him to sleep the way I used to. So that was the first mistake we made the first night. The second night was better. We extended the time. And so what we did is, the second night is we gave him all his milk and everything, beforehand, and then just walked him in his room, said goodnight, gave him a kiss, and laid him down. And he lost his mind. And we extended it, and we did 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and 6 minutes. So every 3 minutes, or we went in after 3 minutes. We did not pick him up, kind of rubbed his back, shushed him, just for a very short amount of time, and then left the room. Went back in after 4 minutes, shushed him, blah, 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 left the room. Came back. So the first night, it took him an hour and a half to fall asleep, back asleep. The second night, it took an hour for him to fall asleep initially. He did wake back up, and we went through the same routine again. And so it wasn't terrible, but, let me just say, I couldn't have done it if Brennan wasn't here. Having, like, the moral support of another person is really important when you do this, so just so you know. Anyway, on the third night, I talked to Brandon, and I was like, we should stick with our bedtime routine, but instead of me, like, giving him his bottle and then nursing him to sleep, I should just, feed him his bottle, tell him goodnight, and then lay him down, because it gets him really sleepy, and he's not going to be all pissed off when I lay him down. So that's what I did. I gave him his bottle. I burped him, and I said, okay, baby, I love you. Gave him a kiss, laid him down, and he was pissed off. Brandon was back at work by that day, so I went ahead and I waited, I believe, 4 minutes the first session. I went downstairs, waited 4 minutes, went back upstairs. He was still crying. I quieted him. I soothed him and said, I didn't pick him up, but I did like rub his back. And I said, you know, I love you, good night. And I did not pick him up, but I did like help him lay back down. And came downstairs and he, I think, was that the night that he did too, honey? Like, I think so, right?
What's that?
The third night that I had to go up twice, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, I went back up after 5 minutes. He kept crying. Sorry, I forget things. So Brennan's my, like, memory. So I came back up, went in his room, same thing, laid him back down. See, I found that, like, him exerting the energy of standing back up and crying, it was like that was how he was wearing himself down. So I laid him back down, and he's just whimpering and kind of whatever. He rolled over and he went to sleep. That was it. It was amazing. And then every time thereafter. So the next day, he did the same. We did the same thing where I like gave him the bottle and then laid him down awake after burping him, and he went right to sleep. I never had to go back in. So basically, after we did this, decided to do this, he now goes to sleep on his own. We don't have to rock him. I mean, I do still rock him and feed him his bottle. But we don't have to get him back to sleep or anything. He'll sleep until 5 a.m. and that's when I'll feed him again. I'll nurse him, and he'll wake up and he'll nurse, and then he'll go back to sleep on his own, and he'll sleep until about 7. We were in such a bad sleep pattern. We moved his bedtime up an hour because he was going to sleep so late. We were all losing sleep, and like I had said, and I thought sleeping until 9 a.m. was like a blessing, but when you're staying up half the night, I guess it's not even, really sleeping until 9 a.m., really. So basically that's what we did as far as sleep training is concerned. Bam went from sleeping in our bed one night to sleeping in his own the next. There was he cried, but he didn't cry for more than like 5 minutes at a time before, we went in there. And as hard as it was a lot easier than I thought it would have been. And at the end of the day, if you do cry it out, you're not a terrible person. You're not a terrible parent. Your baby doesn't hate you. They're not hurting. If your child isn't in pain from teething or whatever, doesn't have a dirty diaper, isn't hungry, and is just miserably tired, they will go to sleep. Trust me, they will go to sleep. And everybody's going to get more sleep because of it. I feel I can't be my best self if I'm exhausted and irritable because I've spent the last 24 hours with this baby. I love my son to death, but I was getting no break from him. I was with him 24 hours a day, every day. So having this time, even if it's just to like clean the kitchen or take a shower without worrying about him, like there's a lot to be said about that. So I would give it a try if you're in a place where your baby just won't sleep or you can't get him out of your bed. It can be done if you want to do it. If you don't want to, I think it's perfectly fine to sleep with your baby. I really enjoyed it for the time that we did it, but it was time for us personally to, put a stop to it and move him on to his own bed. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, but I'm going to try to do a day in the life video tomorrow so you can kind of catch up with us and see what's going on for all of us, and see how Violet's doing and actually see Bam. And I'll go through our entire bedtime routine and everything tomorrow.
See that he walks.
Oh yeah, Bam's walking. But anyway, so I will see you guys soon. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.